Hey! Before we get started today, there were two things I want to mention. First, I'm, at the time of this recording, like 58 subscribers away from reaching my goal this year of getting 3,300 subscribers. So, if you're watching this right now and aren't subscribed, now's a great time to hit that button. You'd be really doing me a solid. Secondly, next weekend I'm gonna be at a Comic-Con, so there won't be a regular episode. There will be a Saturday shorty though. There just won't be a regular Monster Month episode on Tuesday. Instead of that, you'll get a vlog about the Comic-Con. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Greetings, mere mortals, and welcome back to Monster Month.
You know the Joes have been through a lot in the cartoons, and today, for your entertainment, we'll be going through the 6 most monstrous things that have happened to people in the G.I.Joe cartoons.
And no, being in the T cartoon doesn't count by itself.
Number 6. Iceberg becomes a whale in Iceberg Goes South. A better title would have been Things Go South for Iceberg, as he was captured by Cobra and was experimented on, turning him into a killer whale. Okay, this is way down at number 6 because it's way more funny than horrifying, but being turned into Free Willy can still definitely ruin your day.
And speaking of turning into animals,
Number 5. Cobra Commander turns into a snake in G.I. Joe the movie. No, the movie wasn't good by any means, but Cobra Commander getting hit by mutant spores that slowly, very slowly, turn him into an actual cobra was interesting. And he wasn't just physically turning into a snake, but his mind was deteriorating as well. Slowly losing the ability to speak, to think, is terrifying, and continued until he was pure animal, with the only thought from his previous life being he really, really hated his old boss. Hey, we've all been there. Number 4. Venomous Maximus in Valor vs. Venom.
imagine being General Hawk.
You fought Cobra all of your career. Then you get captured by them and turned into Serpentor 2.0, essentially. A monster hell-bent on destroying your former friends and troops. He has become what he hates most and can't do anything about it.
Still, there's a difference between trying to kill your friends and...
Number 3. Thinking you've actually killed your friends in There's No Place Like Springfield. Imagine waking up and being told you've got amnesia and years have passed. You have a wife and kids. Your old friends are around, but something feels off. Then they attack you, and when you're forced to defend yourself, they turn into blobs. You think you've killed them, but don't know how. Yes, this was more like a Twilight Zone episode instead of G.I. Joe. Okay, so it was obviously all a ruse by Cobra, but Shipwreck still found himself trapped in a nightmare, slowly losing his mind.
And speaking of nightmares...
Number 2. Pretty much all of Nightmare Assault.
Are you liking these segues, by the way?
Most of this episode are literally nightmares where a number of Joes experience their worst fears. Hawk sees his troops die. Lifeline can't save anybody. Mainframe turns into a robot.
Okay, that's a weird one.
Nightmares aren't very nice at the best of times, but when Cobra dials them up to 11, things get really horrific.
But what if the nightmare turns out to be real, like when?
Number 1. Finding your own corpse and those of your friends in worlds without end. An accident happens and you and your buddies find yourselves in seemingly the same place, but things seem off. Slowly you realize things aren't the way they're supposed to be. This isn't your beautiful house. This isn't your beautiful wife. You've been transported to a different reality where Cobra won. To make matters worse, you get stung by a weird insect that makes you sick. So at this point, you're stuck in a weird place, you've got a fever and are getting delusional, and then you come across the skeletal remains of yourself and your two buddies.
Yeah, even I would freak out too.
Steeler did not have a fun vacation, but still elected to stay and rebuild the Joe team in this alternate universe. Probably because he'd get a chance to bang the Baroness. And those were 6 of the most monstrous things to happen to people in the G.I. Joe cartoon.
Were there more?
Of course there are, and feel free to point them out in the comments below.
Until next time, mere mortals, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribe.